So tell me why this dude on the internet said
Oh no.
um Capone was better than Cormega.
Oh wow. Lyrically?
Yeah,
Nah.
I was like y'all
Cormega.
bugging.
Cormega better. Cormega have the better discography too.
Exactly.
You know. Yep.
I'm like y'all bugging.
He wild. Yep.
Yeah. Like I said, I just want to do like 25, 30 minutes of this shit anyway.
Right.
Don't want to make it too long. I want to get my point across.
People trashing the movie. I don't understand that though.
I'll give my reasons
Yo, it's crazy.
because I watched the movie twice,
Hmm.
so I'm gonna give my reasons and shit.
Right.
Because I'm just gonna be real with you.
Hmm.
I am not anti sequels.
Hmm.
I am not anti reboots.
Right.
Some of my favorite movies have been sequels and reboots.
Right.
Believe it or not, Scarface was a reboot.
That was
Niggas
good.
fail to realize that.
Hmm.
The Best Man Holiday. That wasn't. Believe it or not, I like that more than the original Best Man.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
believe it or not. Um, Toy Story 2, Toy Story
Hmm.
3,
Hmm.
Godfather 2.
Yeah.
Hell, I even like the Sparkle reboot
Hmm.
in 2012.
Right.
I hated the original Sparkle. Hated it.
Hmm.
My only thing, let me,
Hmm.
because the past couple of years, and I think I'm going to blame Disney.
Hmm.
When Disney started to reboot or do all these sequels to all of their products, everybody started doing that shit.
Right.
Because I want to say it was that first Alice in Wonderland reboot.
Yep.
Everyone started. Next thing you know it, oh, they're gonna do a Ghostbusters all female, like
Hmm.
all female Ghostbusters. They're
Hmm.
gonna do this. They're gonna do that. I'm like, okay, where's the original ideas at?
Right.
So I watched this movie,
Hmm.
very excited. The beginning, like I'm gonna talk about the beginning.
Hmm.
I like the beginning. You know, you had Zamunda. You know, you had like more like it brought back coming to America, first coming to America vibes and
Right.
whatnot. And you had the three children.
Hmm.
In my opinion, I'm gonna be real. The main girl who wanted to be the queen, she should have been. It should have been maybe two children, at least.
Hmm.
I'm because I know one of them was his real life daughter, if I'm
Yeah,
not
the one
mistaken.
with the glasses.
I knew that was okay.
Yeah, that was it.
If
That was
if
it.
they would have kept the one in the glasses
Hmm.
and the other girl, I would have been cool with.
Right.
Cause I didn't know what the third girl did. To be real with you.
Right.
Okay, so okay, Eddie and I mean not Eddie, Hakeem and Lisa, they're married and whatnot. Okay, you still have Semi. I love the scene where he's like sparring with his dog. I like
Yeah,
that scene because
that was good.
again, was what Hakeem used to. I like that he passed it down to his daughters.
Right.
Um, okay, James Earl Jones' character was dying.
Yeah.
I didn't expect him to die that early on in the movie. I'm gonna be real with you.
Right.
And this is where the first problem happened.
Hmm.
The scene where it's almost supposedly his funeral,
Hmm.
all those cameos like Morgan Freeman, Salt and
Hmm.
Pepper, En Vogue without Dawn, Gladys Knight. I mean, I loved all of them, but it was just like, okay. So, and this is one thing about sequels I've noticed.
Hmm.
Anytime it's a sequel, there will always be some unnecessary cameos. Like, I know the Hangover 2, Ted 2.
Right.
Hell, Morgan Freeman was in Ted 2
Right.
and shit. So, James Earl Jones' character died. Oh, the whole McDowell scene in the earlier movie, I like that scene because again,
Right.
still kept on with the theme. Even though John Amos was only in 20 minutes, We're gonna get into that. We're gonna get
Yeah,
into
but he lived out there though. Like he was with them. It's not like he was back stuck in America still.
I know, but at the end of the day, hell, they could have been a scene where Lisa went to her dad for like
Right,
comfort or advice, saying, "Oh,
right.
dad, Hakeem,
That
I feel like Hakeem is doing this." Like you could have had that scene between
that
Lisa and dad, like some a scene
that's
like
the
that.
one. Yeah, that's the one thing. If I had to nitpick, it would have been that. Like we didn't see those scenes with Lisa and her dad like in part one.
Right.
That part of anything, I thought everything else was good though.
Yeah. And so when and then I'm gonna be I'm be real with you, and this is me being perfectly honest.
Right.
The scene I liked and I disliked the scene when they went back in time. I like the scene because the makeup that they used
Hmm.
was so realistic. I was like, oh shit. Like
Yeah.
even with Arsenio, like they first of all, black don't crack, first of all.
Right.
But I love that shit.
Hmm.
But then this is where I had a huge issue.
Hmm.
Would you really believe Sammy drugging Hakeem just to get a baby? And I'm for one, this is me. I never saw date rape or as a gateway for comedy. That's just me personally.
Right.
I know certain people they want to, oh, I'm a slippery still. I never thought that was common. And to me, it was just like, yeah, now the movie's in trouble.
Right.
Then you had Leslie Jones, which I'm
Hmm.
gonna be honest too. I'm not a fan of Leslie Jones. I'm not a hell. I don't even like the dude who played the Hakeem's son. I felt like
Wow.
he was just whining. He had that weird high pitched voice, like he's not there. I was just like, okay, like he was just overact. It was just a weird overacting. Both of them were just overacting.
Right.
Tracy Morgan wasn't. I mean, Tracy Morgan. He's always going to be Tracy Morgan.
Hmm.
That's just the best way to put it.
Right.
Who else? Lunel. You know, I love Lunel.
Hmm.
Again, if they made Lunel the baby mama, that would have been hella times funnier. If they would have made Lunel the baby, that would have
Hmm.
been hella times funnier. Because
Right.
people sleep on Lunel. People sleep on her so fucking much.
And she was more reserved than that. I don't think she had any dialogue in the film.
No, she only had dialogue like in this
Hmm.
flashback and in the scene when
Right.
they came back in the wedding and stuff like that.
Right.
Like she is a fucking gem in
Now,
our
supposedly,
com.
supposedly they said that Lunel had beef with Leslie Jones, and they made up for the movie.
I heard some brief stories about
Yeah.
that.
So
Yeah.
I don't know.
And so this is where again the movie they had like a lot of cheesy. It's like with the Coming to America first movie, and
Hmm.
I want to say some right things the sequel did, but I'm gonna be
Right.
fair. With I know 35 years, I know it's a different time and everything,
Hmm.
but let me put an emphasis. It's been 35 motherfucking years. Have you guys learned your lesson? When
Hmm.
The Godfather 3 happened 18 years, wait, scratch that, hold on, 16 years
Hmm.
after Godfather 2. To
Right.
me, no more than 8 years. And I'm going to say that because Terminator 2 came out in 91, while Terminator 1 came out in 84.
Right.
And I kind of like the Terminator 2 more than Terminator 1. I'm going to be real.
Same. Me too.
Yeah. Toy Story 3, that came out in the
Right.
early 2010s. Toy Story
Right.
2 came out in 1999.
Hmm.
This is 35. Do you know what has happened in 35 years, Trout?
Yeah, I know.
LA riots.
Yes.
We had Bill Clinton. We
Hmm.
had Yo MTV Raps. We had Tupac and the East Coast, West Coast. We had all of that shit.
Right.
We had a lot of bad Eddie Murphy movies
Hmm.
in 35.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, well, let me bring. Okay, then the jokes like crazy bits say what. I always hate that say what joke. And again, characters
Hmm.
played a huge bad part. Hakeem was not. I didn't like the way they did Hakeem's character because Hakeem was always one to defy tradition, be the
Right.
revolutionary. It's like in a way I saw his character as abiding by his dad, but
Hmm.
at the same time, do y'all really think he would be that quick to be like, oh well, okay, if it's this, let's do this shit, like
Hmm.
rip? And it's like I hate when comedy movies do that shit. Like, what do you think? when they think, oh, something's gonna happen, but then, oh, it's a psych, big psych and stuff like that. When there's
Mm,
like no build up to it.
right.
Wesley Snipes. I'm not a fan of Michael Blackson. Again, another
Not that much.
overacting, another other over. I love Wesley Snipes,
Mm,
and Wesley he does have comedic chops, and
right.
there were some times in the movie he did make me laugh.
Mm,
But again, the writer's over exaggeration of Africans
right.
is what really brought it down. Like the whole fucking dance he was fucking doing. I mean, yeah, it was funny, it was cool, it was fun, but come on,
Mm,
man, like come on, man, y'all could have really had an epic collision of course, like epic battle. If y'all
right.
if y'all could have really stuck your heads to it, you know what I'm saying? Y'all could have really had
Mm,
like an epic battle. Y'all had fucking Rick Ross as one of your henchmen. Y'all had Rotini.
well, Timmy, yeah.
Yeah. Tiana Taylor basically did the whole same thing.
Mm,
Vanessa Bell Calloway's character. Well, another funny part was her character still was barking.
still was walking, right.
That was okay. That was
But
funny.
without, I think Vanessa Bell's character was her aunt. That was her aunt because Vanessa Bell was the sister to Wesley Snipes' character.
Yeah. hmm
Yeah, it runs in the family.
Yeah, runs in the family. hmm Yeah, like I said, and then throughout the whole movie, it was just weird scenes. I mean,
Mm,
the barbershop scenes again. And I always liked it. It was pretty
right.
good for the most part and whatnot. Cause again, I always like this. It reminds me of old barbershops back home and stuff like that. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
What else did not like about this movie? Like again, Trevor Noah was in a cameo role. I'm just like all these cameo roles and stuff. And I felt like it was not right by character. I just
Mm,
felt like it was not right by character. Even like I said, the scene where like either Lisa's character got drunk and stuff
mm,
like that, and calling out Hakim. I was like, I was just waiting for it when they were both arguing
bang.
and stuff like that. I was just waiting for that scene
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like, cause I don't. Lisa, she's more like the straight characters, the straight man and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I hate when writers want to ruin a character just for comedic purpose and whatnot. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Oh, if there was another thing I did like, the character that played Hakim's illegitimate son, or excuse me, bastard son, like they kept
Mm.
referring.
That's
Like,
the
yeah,
son.
we
Right.
get it, we get it. The girl that played Hakim's son's groomer,
Girlfriend.
I liked her character.
Yeah.
I like I liked her character and stuff like that. She was cool.
Yeah.
Um, the scene with the lion,
Mm.
again, the whiskers of the lion. Believe it or not, I didn't like that scene.
Mm.
I like that part where they did the whole cat's food. I like
Yeah.
that part too, but what else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Like the scene when there was the scene that the prince get off. You
Mm.
know, Prince. I love Prince and stuff like that. I love the African twist that they done to like the regular songs.
Mm-hmm.
It was
That was
cool.
good.
I liked it, but I wish they would have just did like more African songs throughout the whole fucking movie, in my
Right.
opinion. Now, 'cause I know Afrobeat is popular right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but my favorite scene,
Mm-hmm.
if there was one scene out of the whole movie that I would say when Hakeem went back to McDowell's
Right.
and John Amos, Lisa's dad, came talking, and it was the right mixture of comedy
Mm.
and heart, in my
Right.
opinion, because this is a scene where his son went to America. He didn't know what to do. Lisa was mad at him. He said that he
Mm-hmm.
liked to mop to get his mind off things, and that's the truest shit because the nigga
Right.
was mopping, taking out the trash. He loved
Mm-hmm.
doing that shit.
Right.
And then his Lisa's dad, and like again, the relationship between those two, especially in the first movie, how he just thought of him just as a worker, as a peasant.
Mm-hmm.
But over throughout the movie, he did see like he was a hard worker. He stood his own and shit like that. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? And he just comes saying, "You the king. You gotta get to fighting and stuff like that."
Right.
And then he was like, "Oh, you the king of your castle," with the whole McDowell's. I was kind of laughing. That was the moment I laughed the most. He's like, This is my cast. I run McDowell's
Right.
and stuff like that. I
Mm-hmm.
like that part most definitely. Again, because it was a mixture of comedy and heart. And then like the scene where the dogs were fighting,
Mm-hmm.
Wesley Snipes character and stuff like that, and the whole wedding. It was just like, okay, we always know what was gonna happen.
Right.
They played the whole Jackie Wilson son to be loved. Everyone knows that. It was just
Mm-hmm.
predictable.
Right.
And hint hint, he's talking about, oh, now he's the ambassador man. Okay, like of course the groomer and him married. It
Mm-hmm.
was predictable. Like if I was to put this movie on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm probably give it a 5.5 out of 10.
Wow.
I'm
Damn.
I'm being perfectly honest. I'm being perfectly and I love the first one.
Mm-hmm.
It's a comedy classic. People say it's like a staple at the home. Not just black people love it. White people love it.
Right.
Asian people. Everybody can quote a line like this. Let your suck love. Even like
Mm-hmm.
the Easter eggs in the movie. I like the Easter eggs. But the thing that hurts this movie the most, for one, while I did love the nostalgia bit, I feel like it relied too heavily on nostalgia. And what I mean by that is it it was just like the same story, but at the same time, we're gonna add like a 2021 to like let's just add like a baby mama drama, just
Mm-hmm.
so we can get people to laugh. Let's add like a oh Hakeem had an illegitimate son. Let's just add that. Let's just add hood rat. Let's just add oh that's a queen. Let's just add like all this ghetto black thing. You know what I'm saying? Let's add all that. Let's just make everything loud and funny.
Mm-hmm.
And we're gonna try so fucking hard. That's what I got from it. The first one, it wasn't just a comedy to me. It was like a romance film. It was a coming of age. It was just like two worlds, two cultures coming together.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish they would have more of that
Right.
and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Again, I'm not a fan of the actor. I think his name was Jermaine Farley or whatever his name. I'm not a fan
Yeah.
of him. Not a fan of Leslie Jones. And it was just mostly about them. And that middle
Right.
part, it was just mostly about them and shit. Um, Pacing was just weird too. And yeah, man, and like I said before, I'm not trying to say, oh, it should do exactly what the first one did. I was not expecting that.
Mm-hmm.
By the end of the day, I only laughed 4 times throughout the whole fucking movie. 4 times. And I never counted how many times I laughed in the movie. Never.
Right.
Um, Now if there were some good things, I like the fact that the majority of the cast was there, but I noticed a lot of fans. They sometimes they want to say, "Oh, the majority of the cast is here. That means the movie's going to be great."
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well you got the cast, but you got to also think you got to have the same writers. You got to have the
Right.
same screenwriter. You got to have. I'm not saying you have to have like the same producer because sometimes motherfuckers might move on, motherfuckers might not. But as long as you have like the same majority of like the writers, somebody who
Mm-hmm.
was actually there
Right.
when you made the first one. Like again, I bring up the Best Man Holiday
Mm-hmm.
because excuse me, yeah, you look at that movie now, yeah, it was like okay, it's like a romantic film. They're doing a sequel, but at the end of the day, it stood on its own and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? It stood on its own as a romantic movie by it. So some people might watch that and they might not even watch the first Black Man, the Best Man,
Mm-hmm.
which I might need to talk about that movie because that's like
Definitely.
a sequel that's done very well, in
Right.
my opinion. Now take like Why Did I Get Married Too by
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Perry. For the most part, enjoyable movie for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
But the way they done Malik Yoba's character, aka the dark skinned bald nigga, excuse me, how they made him all angry,
Mm-hmm.
abusive and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It was just like
Right.
the movie went dark out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? This was the people in the first movie that was like the straight people that yeah they had their flaws, but they were like the most stable people at that time. You know,
Right.
but
Right.
yeah, I'm gonna give it a 5.5 out of 10.
Wow.
Um, I did like the only new characters I really fucked with was the eldest daughter of Akim and Lisa. And that's another thing too. I wish there was more scene with Lisa and the daughter.
Right.
I just felt like Lisa was just pushed in the sidelines. Like
Mm-hmm.
Char was just pushing the sidelines in this whole fucking movie.
Right.
Like more character interactions. I
Right.
don't care about this whole walk, trying to walk, get your pimp walk. I don't care about all that bullshit. Um, and the groomer and stuff like that. You know, I really gotta find the actress's name and stuff, but that's all.
Right.
I know I talk for too much, but that's all I
It's
got.
all good. I to
Yeah,
me, I think this movie had two messages. I think it was one of people losing themselves. I think Hakeem lost himself in this film, and Lisa. And I think it was about, even though I heard people say like, the story is the same as part one, but I think there was a message in that, being like, how many times have we done something, either whether it was good or bad, and our parents would say, "Oh, well, you remind me of myself when I was your age," because they might have made the same mistake their parents did, at the same age or whatever. And that's how I saw when when Hakeem's son got with the groomer, and Hakeem was like so like set against his son not marrying her, remembering when that was him in that very same predicament in part one, and his mom was like, follow your heart, and if you love her, then marry her. And his father was dead set against that. He wanted him to marry somebody within the kingdom, and Hakeem didn't want that. He wasn't connected to any of them, like the girl that was balking. He wasn't connected to her. You know what I'm saying? He went and got Lisa, and same thing happened with his son. He wasn't connected to Tiana Taylor's character. He went and got the groomer that he had that connection with, and that right there was the message for people, for young people. Like, don't make the same, like, if you like, don't make the same mistakes your parents did. You know what I'm saying? And Hakeem lost himself, and it was like towards the end of the film, when he went back to McDowell's and had that talk with Lisa's father, that he regained his true self, because he was acting like his pops before then. And then for Lisa, I think for Lisa character, she I think for her, even though they didn't show a lot of scenes with her on her own, I think for her it seemed like, to me, she got accustomed to the ways of being a princess in Zamunda. And their ways compared to the American ways is very different. Whereas Hakeem is the ruler. So like, when people see the scene where she kicked out Hakeem out of the bedroom, and people was like, oh, well, that's not a realistic scene, because in real life she wouldn't have did that. Why not? She's the woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the mother of his kids. Like that's the wife. You know what I'm saying? I would think she would have some, if she the princess, I would think she would have some type of say over, if she over some stuff out there. Like, if she kick out the king of Zamunda out the bedroom, why she can't do that? You know what I'm saying? So, and when she got drunk with Leslie Jones' character, she told Hakeem, like, she met a new friend tonight from Queens, and she liked her, and I think Lisa had lost herself along the way, being the princess of Zamunda, and she regained herself when she was hanging out with Leslie Jones' character. So I think those are the two messages. They should have been more scenes with Lisa and her father, because we didn't get
exactly.
that. We didn't get that. You know what I'm saying? Like we got some scenes. I think like the best scene with her was when Hakeem's son and his mom actually came to the castle, and like that interaction with Leslie Jones' character and Sherry Headley. I like that. Because because Sherry, Lisa, she didn't even know about Hakeem having the illegitimate son. So I like how they did that, but she needed more scenes. I've heard people say like the interaction with Hakeem and Semi, and Semi wasn't the same. They were looking for more of that those jokes with them from part one. I'm like, I don't. It was. I think it was good. I don't feel like the. But I don't feel like the movie needs to be. I don't feel like the movie success is based on Eddie Murphy's performance. I think people put too much pressure on him because it was a anticipated sequel. We haven't had an anticipated sequel from Eddie since what, Beverly Hills Cop Part Two. Nobody was really anticipating Doctor Dolittle Part Two or Nutty Professor Two. You know what I'm saying? So this was like the first time, like really that since Beverly Hills Cop Two that that the or Cop Three that pressure was on him, and I think after 30 something years, like it was like people put too much pressure on him to the point where when they finally saw the movie, they're like, oh, I don't like this. But I think it was actually good. Like without Leslie Jones to me was the the best part of the movie. Like all her scenes, she stole the scenes, whether it was with Lisa or with the son or with Tracy Morgan or with Eddie. Every scene she did, she killed it. I think she was a star of the movie. She and Wesley Snipes. When was the last time we were able to say that Wesley Snipes was good in a comedy? Because he don't do comedy. I've never I saw To Fu and I didn't like that film where he played like the cross dresser with Patrick Swayze.
Trash,
Did
trash.
not like that movie. Rest in peace, to Patrick Swayze. But did never like that film. He was like our '90s version of Steven Seagal for our people. Everything he did was an action film, whether it was Demolition Man or Rising Sun with Sean Connery or Drop Zone or Art of War. Everything Blade, everything he did was action, and I'm like, yo, Wesley Snipes is actually like funny in this film. Maybe he should take on that new genre of being like doing more comedy. And I like Tracy Morgan. Tracy Morgan was always Tracy Morgan. I liked him in anything he did. You know what I'm saying? I think without those three, the movie would have fell flat. Like even with and I don't I the even with Eddie Jones Eddie Murphy's son could have been anybody, but as long as you had Leslie, Wesley, and Tracy, that movie would have been good. I think if you didn't have them, it would have fell flat. And I don't think the movie success should be based on Eddie Murphy's performance or his interaction with Semi this time. I think the movie can still be good without him being the main star of the movie like the first one. The first one he was the main star. This one being that the cast is more diverse. I think the movie should be it should be successful based on the other cast members' performances. And we had all the cameos from Rick Ross and Morgan Freeman and Salt and Pepper in Vogue. I didn't even know about none of those. Because I've seen Salt and Pepper in interviews promoting their movie. They never even said they were in Coming to America too.
Right? I
You,
was like, how the
you know what I
fuck did?
mean? So that was just I'm like I've seen some of these people in they kept that a big secret. Like Morgan Freeman and them kept that a big secret.
I'm like,
And
damn, y'all got Morgan now? Okay.
right. And I thought, Gladys Knight of all people, she was dressed in the African garbs, and I like the costumes from Ruth Carter because she did all the Spike Lee films. The costumes for his films, I like the African costumes. It really made me feel like I was watching like a Coming to America, but it was like with some Wakanda mixed in with it. You know what I'm saying? And I wonder like if Chadwick Boseman was alive, would have been considered to be a part of this film, like a cameo or something? And I just thought the movie was funny and I thought it was like a seamless transition from the first one because it's like many years later. It's not like they started it off where it's like this is the day after Lisa goes to Zamunda and after the day after the wedding. Like this is many years later. They had three daughters, and then Eddie finds out about his bastard son, like they kept saying in the film. And like I thought it was a seamless transition. I think this is why people gotta watch the first one again and then watch the second one. Cause to me, I think it's a seamless transition, and the whole tone of the film was good, and it took place this time in Zamunda. It was the first one took place in the Queens. This one takes place in Hakeem's homeland, and I felt like it was good, and I like the fact that when he did come back to Queens, they paid homage to the first one, going back to the barber shop with the old guys cutting their hair and just sitting around talking crap, and then like when he first met his son in front of Madison Square Garden, he had the old Mets baseball leather jacket on. I like that because that's what he wore. People remember that jacket from the first film, and you know, Tiana Taylor's character. I thought she should have had more scenes. She should have
Hmm.
had more scenes with the son. I just felt like she was like playing the hired wife. I just thought she could have more scenes at least. Like I would like to see like more interaction with her and the son, or even talking to Hakeem, you know. Um what else? I thought it was good. I thought it was good. Like the father like the way the father passed, I didn't get that. Like him actually they were having a ceremony before he died, and then he actually dies in the coffin. I'm like I didn't really understand that part. That part could have been cut out of the movie. I don't think they should have killed him off like that. You know what I'm saying? They even paid homage to the mother with like showing like the portrait of her and the king, and I like that they paid homage to her and not leaving her out. And I thought it was good. Like I said, I thought Leslie Jones was hilarious in the film, and I watched a lot of Leslie Jones from SNL, and I thought she was good in the Ghostbusters film, even though I was against that movie because I felt like if you're gonna do it should have been a like the Ghostbusters sequel we get in this summer, the Afterlife. That should have been that should have been the one to come out, not the reboot with the all female cast. But even in that movie, I think she and Melissa McCarthy was hilarious in that film. You know what I'm saying? But I always thought she was hilarious, and Tracy Morgan, watching him for years, and Wesley Snipes, like he was surprisingly good at doing comedy, and maybe that's something needs to consider in the future instead of like going back to Blade and stuff like that. But um, I don't know. I just thought it was a good sequel. I don't understand how people of our color can put down this movie, but they're the same ones that's talking about Oscars are so white, and they don't acknowledge, they don't recognize our work in Hollywood, but we're putting down our own stuff, and then it's like we're praising stuff like WandaVision and any Tenant and any what I'm saying, any movie with Meryl Streep. I'm like, what about our shit? Like, I didn't see nobody praise last year Lovecraft Country when that show came out. It was like one blogger on YouTube that was praising that show. Nobody else was even talking about that show, and that show got like so many like nominations and stuff for the show. And I don't even think they officially announced the season 2 for that show on HBO. And that was like one of the best shows I was watching, along with the Power Ghost show. We gotta support more of our stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, and people, like I don't know. Like I feel like people, they either haven't watched the first film in a long time, or they just refuse to watch the first one and they went straight to this one and be like, oh, well, I don't like it. But I think they gotta go back and watch the first one and then watch this one. I think they'll definitely understand it. But I thought it was a good film. Like, and I think like he said, like they in the interview last week, he said he has material for part 3. Now, how they could do part 3? They have to do it this time around the pandemic, because I can't see them doing a part 3 where it's like another baby involved. I think they got to do it around the pandemic, where like maybe being that the son is the ambassador of the U.S. now, and he goes back to Queens, and maybe the son and his wife gets COVID, and then COVID affects Zamunda to the point where Hakeem has to come back to America to aid the U.S. in the efforts to rid the virus. I think that would be. I think a lot of people would relate to that storyline more than the second one.
Mm.
You know,
Shit, you never know. Only time will tell, man.
right? And it can't be done 30 years from now. It got to be done like year after next. They got to move fast on that.
Because they said that Eddie said he wanted to do it when he was 75 or some shit.
What? He wants to do it when he's 75?
Yeah, I
What
read
the
about
hell? Oh no! Don't tell me they're gonna wait to do part 3 when he's 75. For what? He might not live that long. Like, no, you got to act on this fast, because I think the sooner, if they have plans to move forward with a part 3, the sooner they do it, I think, especially now in this pandemic, I think more people could relate to that storyline. I think people missed the messages in this sequel, and that's why they didn't like it. And I would like to know how, like, the people that didn't like it, how would you make, how you would have did this story differently. Because I thought it was a good. I mean, like, the whole thing with it happens where people get drugged and then they get raped and all that. You know what I'm
yeah, but
saying?
I mean Hakeem, they were boys and shit. I'm just saying. Cause
Right. But
one of
remember,
my
Semi said he was trying to get some butt too. You know what I'm saying? So he was busy doing it. You don't believe that?
I don't give a fuck. If a motherfucker drugs me and he claims he's my friend, that's the end of
Mm,
friendship. That's just me.
right,
That's
right.
me.
He might have been like, yo, I'm gonna take the pretty one and I'm gonna let Hakeem have the ugly one, and maybe that's why he drugged him so that he could have the ugly one. Remember, he went in the room with the other chick. That was the
Yeah,
pretty one. That was her friend. That was the pretty one that he had, and then Hakeem had the ugly one. You know what I'm saying? That's why, like, when they casted Leslie Jones, I'm like, yo, she got to be playing the baby mama because there's no way in hell that anybody could look at her and be like, yo, that was the chick I laid down with and had a kid with.
man. I'd rather lay down with Luke Nell than I'd rather lay down with Lazy Jones. I'm gonna be real.
You
I
know what I'm
can't lay down.
saying?
I can't lay down with Leslie Jones. Man. I'm gonna be real with you,
Yeah,
man.
and I'm like Leslie Jones, she brought her sassiness and her attitude to the role. I'm like, that's the type of role that she played on SNL. So if anybody watched on SNL, like that's who she played. She was playing
I don't
characters
even
like that.
watch. I don't even watch that SNL like that, man. I
Right.
only watch
You didn't watch
classic.
it when she was on there?
I like the classic. Not so ready for prime
Right.
time play. That's my SNL.
Right. But I mean, I watched her when she was on there on when she used to be on the show, and that's the type of character she played. Any character she played on there, she had like that sassiness and that
Yeah,
street attitude, and
yeah.
I think that's what she
The
brought
black
to the
woman
role.
stereotype in SNL that they always have in all of SNL. The black woman stereotype.
Yeah, but Keenan no play that. He's the opposite. He don't play the street dude on there. That was Jay Farrowa or whatever his name is.
Yeah, but they did put Keenan in the dress a couple of times. They did make him play the mammy-ish kind of roles.
Right.
Like I'm no, I love Kenan Thompson and shit like that, but
Mm,
that's not the get. They like I said, the way they always do black actors and actresses in SNL. It's a long
mm,
history dated back as Garrett Morris. They put
right.
them in these stereotypical roles and shit.
Mm,
That's why Eddie Murphy left SNL because they were just starting to do that shit to him.
right.
They did that
Yeah,
shit
I
to.
noticed like they're black their black actors don't last that long. Like they end up leaving after a couple years. So
Little trivia when Chris Rock
mm,
was in SNL in Living Color, they had a skit
mm,
called I think it's called Express Call where people they referred to Chris Rock as the black guy from SNL because he was like
right.
literally the black guy. Well, next to him and Tim Meadows, but
Mm,
niggas sleep on Tim Meadows low key.
right. Yeah, he was good.
Yeah, but they only refer to him as the black guy from SNL, so that's why in that last season of In Living Color, he did a few skits because he got out of. I want to say he got out of his contract in SNL and he did a few skits in Living Color.
Right.
But the thing with those skits, they made him do his character from "I'm gonna get you, sucker," the
Right.
Pete character. And the crazy thing is, Keanu Ivory Wayne's already
Mm,
left in Living Color a year after. So why
right.
you still using "I'm gonna get you, sucker" skit? It was confused,
It's
weird as hell.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, man, and even what's his name? What's his name? Tim Meadows.
Mm,
Like they would, shit, they would have some weird skits for him too and shit like that. But
right.
hell,
Yeah.
Garrett
I don't.
Morris,
Mm,
Garrett
right. No.
Morris literally freebased himself and shit.
Wow. That's crazy.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I think I don't know. Like I wonder if the movie would have like if Hakeem's character would have been different if the father was still alive. Like with the father, if the father was putting the son through the different um the different obstacle courses to become a prince instead of Hakeem. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Like the lion thing, that was different. You know what I'm saying? Like to be I didn't they didn't have those steps in the first one of Hakeem. Hakeem was already a prince at that
Right.
point. So like I think that was different. Like seeing the what Hakeem's son have to go through to become a prince, and you know I thought he was gonna kill a lion. I didn't think he was gonna like give him cat food. I'm like, is he? Where's the spear? Like, is he gonna like gut this lion out? Who's that?
I'm gonna read you something. So this
Okay.
girl, I'm sorry to cut you off.
Uh,
This girl made a GoFundMe because she's home stuck in ATL.
what the hell? Home.
Yeah, she's stuck in ATL. She wants to get home, and she literally made
What's
a
her home?
GoFundMe. I don't fucking know. I just saw this shit on Facebook,
She
man.
she have no money. She made a GoFundMe page to get home. What the hell?
Yo, the comments are funny. They say should have stayed your ass at home.
Wow. What in the
I thought it
world?
was fake. I thought it was fake at first though, but this is
Mm,
actually real.
wow.
But I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, but I mean, like, yeah, like I thought he was gonna gut the lion out with like they didn't give him no shotgun or no spear. They gave him a little ass some scissors to cut some whiskers off him. I'm like, really? Like this is Africa, and this is what I thought you're supposed to be gutting out pets, making fur coats out of them and shit, and you know what I'm saying? I didn't understand that. So, but I mean, other than that, I think people are just nitpicking too much, and I feel like yo, like this to me was a good sequel, man. I think it was a good sequel to the original, and I think in a couple years, like when people look back at this, they'll be like, yo, this was a damn good sequel to the original, and Eddie delivered. It's not a classic because classics don't grow on trees overnight, but I thought it was a good sequel to the original.
She got $1,000, man. But I hear
Wow,
what
she
you're
got
saying.
$1,000 already. So she
Yeah,
got her money to go home. What more she want? You got $1,000. Like take that and be happy, and you got any money in this COVID.
shit,
You know.
stupid. But yeah, man, I hear what you're saying. I just personally
Right.
feel like I don't mind everyone look at me like, oh, you anti-sequel. No, I don't mind sequels.
Right.
The shit gotta be fucking good. Like if the shit is made no more than 8 years, that's my limit.
Mm-hmm.
No more than
Right.
8 years. If it's
I
past eight,
agree.
or
I agree with
if a
that.
major actor dies,
Mm-hmm.
that should be cool not to do it. Well,
Right.
with this one, Matt Sinclair, God rest her soul,
Mm-hmm.
she passed away in 1995. She died and whatnot, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not like they didn't really focus on her character like that still.
Right.
But
I agree with that because I've seen sequels where like Die Hard, like they still doing the Die Hard franchise, and after
she,
part three, that should have been it because I remember going to see part four and it was bad, and that was when like they made a storyline in regard to like having a terrorist, and he was like doing terrorizing New York City through the internet. So they tried to like update it because of the internet. I didn't like that. I just felt like when they make the like even with Bad Boys 3, I was skeptical with that because I was like, yo, it's been like 18 something years since the second one, and we finally getting the sequel that we should have gotten like maybe a year or two after the part two, and it was good. But I was like, yo, they can't wait that long again to do another Bad Boys. It got to be like sooner than later. So when they
I,
do these sequels, huh?
go ahead.
When they do and 30 years is a long time, and just like with Ghostbusters, like the Ghostbusters sequel got pushed back from last year because of COVID, and it's coming out this year. Hopefully that's good because again, Ghostbusters 2 came out in what 89. You know what I'm saying? That's the year after Coming to America, so that's like 30 years as well. And I'm like, yo, if that don't do good, you're gonna hear the people saying the same thing. Y'all took way too long to come out with a sequel, just like with Coming to America.
Shit. Yeah, man. And I still have yet to see Bad Boys 3. I'm so
Hmm.
skeptical. Like I never cared for Bad Boys 2. And
Right.
mind you, that movie was made 8 years
Mm-hmm.
after Bad Boys
The
1.
first one, right? Yep.
Mm.
See, but I thought Bad Boys 2 was good. It was long. It was like 3 hours long because they did go from Miami to Cuba and all that. But I thought that was good.
Why couldn't they keep their ass in Cuba? I mean, in Miami.
Right.
And it's they all the sequel. They always want to do some cheesy world domination,
Mm-hmm.
international plot. Like every
Right.
knows how action movies tend to follow that plot.
Yeah. It's true.
Hell,
It's true.
think like a man too. That shit
Mm-hmm.
was trash. Why the fuck are y'all at Las Vegas? Let's make
Right.
everything big. Yeah,
Exactly. Exactly.
shit was not fucking funny.
You know, I think that's what it is. I think it was too much expectations because they wanted it to be perfect like the first one, and I
Yeah,
think a lot of people probably feel like, well, if Eddie didn't give a good performance, it wasn't good. But I feel like I don't necessarily feel like he has to have a great performance for the movie to be good. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, like even with a Nutty Professor, the one what was that part two with Janet, like Janet to me was better than him. You feel me?
whoa, whoa,
You don't
whoa.
think she was good in Nutty Professor? I thought Janet was good.
I mean, yeah, Jada was sexy. She was good in that movie, but I thought that
Mm.
was better than the first one.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't. I think it being that it was a more diverse cast. It was a more stronger cast in this one compared to the first one, where it was pretty much left on Eddie. to do everything, and that interaction with him and Arsenio, and Arsenio wasn't even known as an actor. He's still not known as an actor like that. But the that camaraderie with him and Semi in the first one, and then John Amos, everybody knows him. I think like they carried that film. This film to me was more Leslie Jones and Wesley Snipes and Tracy Morgan that had the funny parts of the film. And I felt like they could have picked anybody to play Hakeem's son. I thought his son was gonna be Rotimi. I didn't know Rotimi was gonna be
How about that
like
routinely be the son?
right. I thought so too. I was assuming
Can
that he
you,
was gonna be the son, but he was the
can you
son for
imagine?
Wesley Snipes' character.
Can you imagine Routini,
Hmm.
Lunel, and Eddie Murphy in a scene?
Right.
You know what I think it is, man? They don't want no big girl. They don't want no big girl. That's what it is.
Well, they wanted big and ugly like Leslie Jones. You know what I'm saying? But she funny. You know what I'm saying? But
And I hate the
it could have been any. They could have picked anybody to be the son. The son. He did his thing. I don't think he was bad. You know what I'm saying? But I really feel like the movie got carried by Leslie Jones and Wesley, and I think they carried the film. And it don't necessarily have to be good because if Eddie didn't have a great performance, you know. And the music was good, the sound, the costumes. I thought it was good. I thought it was like a different, like we were in Zamunda this time. The first one it was New York, now we in Zamunda, and I thought it was good. Will it be a classic? I don't know. I'll give it a four out of five. I like the damage. Like I would watch it again, but I mean it's too early to say if it will be a classic or like a great sequel to the first one. I think it's a good sequel to the first one, but I don't know if it's gonna be a classic.
Mm.
you know.
I just wish Hollywood would just come out with something. I'm tired of all these reboots, tired of all
Yeah.
these unnecessary sequels,
Hmm.
stuff like that. Like we didn't need a Toy Story 4. We didn't
And I
need that.
always wondered, like, even with, I don't want to say the sequel was necessary, but I always wondered, like, after Lisa married Hakeem and it ends like that, it's like, so people wanted to know, like, well, how, did they end up having kids? How was their life in Zamunda? And I think that's they gave us that.
Shit. Sometimes people just need to keep wondering. Sometimes I'm just
There's
saying
some
that's
people
that's
that think that,
that's
like,
why we
like you
have
gotta,
fan,
huh?
that's why we have fan fiction.
Right. There's people that think that. There's people that think like I've seen movies where like what's the movie the movie that came out with Denzel and Jared Leto, The Little Things, and I felt like I didn't like that film. I didn't like Jared Leto as the killer. 'Cause I don't think he convinced me that he was a serial killer, but I wanted more. I wanted to see him actually kill some people. But there was people saying like the way they did it was good. Like you don't need to see everything. You gotta use your imagination. But I mean, I think for certain films you got to explain some things, especially if there's no backstory to a film. You got to explain some, especially in horror films where a lot of the times they throw these horror films out there, the Bye Bye Man or the Slender Man, and they don't give no proper backstory to how they became, like how where did the Slender Man or the Bye Bye Man come from? They don't give no backstory. Even with Nightmare on Elm Street, with the way that the original one from the '80s started off, there was no backstory to Freddy Krueger, and we still waiting for, like mad years later for a proper backstory on Freddy Krueger. You know?
Right. Yeah, man. And that's another thing too.
Hmm.
Movies need to do backstories. Niggas sometimes
Yes.
that's another reason why I didn't like Spell,
Right.
which a movie we review we still
Right. We still talk about.
need to talk about, man. But
You know? Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's like that. That could have had a little backstory. I mean, you mean backstory for what's her name character, right?
yeah, why
Loretta
did
Devine.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree. You know, that movie was all over the place. You know what I'm saying? There was a lot of things they didn't explain. It's just like, yeah, like as a movie viewer, I want to know everything about the villain or the hero. I want to know everything. Like it should be backstories for. I don't, especially for horror. Like you can't make a film like the Baba Man and not one time don't nobody know what the hell is the Baba Man or where he came from. You know what I'm saying? It's just like they just throw the villain out there like, oh, he's killing people, but you don't know shit about how he came to be. I don't like movies like that.
Me neither. Because
You
it's
know?
just lazy. It's just lazy. And I know horror movies. Some horror movies are now doing shit like that just to
Right.
throw in effects, just to do stupid shit now. But
Hmm.
sure,
Or sometimes they'll throw it out there and then they'll explain everything in part two. Well, why couldn't you do that in part one? You know,
they'll try to, like, you know how in certain movies they do like a little
a
jump or
time
some
jump.
shit like that.
Yeah. Hmm.
They'll do part two, like what happened during that time span. It's like,
Exactly.
give it.
Exactly.
Believe it or not, the only time that shit worked, and this is gonna be very crazy.
Hmm.
Lion King 1.5. That was the only time that shit worked.
Right.
Everything else, it's trash, man.
Crazy.
But yeah, I'm just like I said, I definitely said 30 minutes. We definitely went over time and shit, but
Yes.
fuck it. Yeah, would I recommend Coming to America 2? Believe it or not, I still would recommend it,
Hmm.
but don't expect the first one.
Right.
Don't don't expect like Dirty Joe. It's a good movie to watch with your family.
Right.
Like if you have like a Christmas party, or if you have like a birthday party, or you just want to chill. He's like, hey, let's watch Coming to America. Let's all laugh. 'Cause I
Hmm.
feel like it'll be more funny if there's groups of people around.
Right.
The
Right.
kind of movie it is. You know what I'm saying?
That's another thing. Being that it was released on streaming, you didn't get that audience effect like the first one. The people had
Yeah,
to stay at home to watch it. So
that's one thing I miss about the movie theaters too.
yeah,
Sometimes, especially when it's
that
like the
that.
first day
Hmm.
it's released and shit like that.
Right. Exactly. I think that's another factor that plays into why many people don't like it because they're not actually sitting in theaters watching it, where the jokes will have that a bigger effect. You know.
Mm, yeah, I guess so. Shit, but anyway, I'm trying to. Oh yeah, I did say
Yeah.
Eve's Bayou. Yeah,
Okay.
that's gonna come this month and stuff like that. I
Hmm.
gotta rewatch the movie. It's been years since I watched it.
Right.
I still want to talk about Love and Basketball too, because
Yes.
I want to irritate some people after I.
Oh Lord. Oh
Yeah,
Lord.
I don't know. These movie reviews lately, I don't know what it is,
Yeah.
but
They good.
yeah, it's good. I don't want to do it too often though. I just want to
Right.
certain
A lot of
movies.
people not discussing. Everybody's discussing the same thing. I feel like every streaming show that's on or movie that just come out, everybody's jumping on it. I'm like, I don't want to talk about WandaVision. Yeah, I don't think it was a great show to begin with.
There's too many people talking about hood movies now and shit, man.
Yeah,
Like,
you know
I don't know. I like hood movie, but it's like every fucking black movie film critic is like,
yeah,
let's analyze hood movies, dude. It's like,
exactly, exactly,
come on. There's more black movies than hood movies. Do a Love
exactly.
Jones, Jason's
Hmm.
Lyric.
Nobody talking about those.
No, man.
You know,
It's always Boys in the Hood,
right?
Juice. And I love all those. I'm tired of people talking about them shits. Like,
Exactly. Like, what more could you talk about? What more can you say about Boys in the Hood and Juice? It's been done already.
shit, give me a fresh review. I never seen a lot
Right.
of fresh reviews
A
and
fresher.
shit.
Exactly. Exactly.
Shit, but anyway,
Yep. Yep.
I don't want to call YouTube like a motherfucker think I'll be sensitive and shit. But anyway,
Yeah.
thank you so much
Yep.
for watching this. I'm Coming to America too. I'm gonna drop this 12 p.m. tomorrow.
Yes.
Um, yes, I would recommend it. I know Try gave it a good
Yes.
rating. I gave it a mixed rating. I know this is like a division now where
Yeah.
people like it, people hate it, but
Right.
fuck it. So stay tuned for all the other good shit, and I will see y'all. Peace.
Peace.